Well, greetings and thanks for joining us for the 114th episode of Lightbulb Moments. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to check out past Lightbulb Moments episodes. If you're joining us live, thanks for joining us. If you're watching this recording, we hope you enjoy this powerful session. I'm Tom Kuhn. I'm host and curator of Lightbulb Moments. I'm from Qnity. Remember, money isn't the most important thing in life, but it is reasonably close to oxygen on the gotta have it scale. At Qnity, we're here to help with a clearer path towards prosperity, to go from confusion, overwhelm, and complexity to a clearer path, whatever that means to you. Following the new rules, which are simple, visual, and actionable, and remember to prosper, manage your ATM, the three currencies we have in life: attention, time, and money. It's not lost on us that you are spending your precious time with us today, so thank you. Our last guest was Catherine Brody, an attorney at Duane Morris, and on the front lines in Washington, D.C., lobbying on behalf of our industry. She was a great guest. I definitely recommend that you check out that episode. Aaron also joined us because Aaron had spent some time on Capitol Hill with Catherine. So Catherine was well worth the listen. I hope you get a chance to enjoy it. This week, we're going to have some special guests. Our lead guest is going to be Sue Ahrens from StudioBe, a familiar a member of the Brain Trust. We've had Sue on several times. Sue is from StudioBe in Colorado, and she is going to share a case study, and we're going to have some support with Will Simpson and Heath Smith, and Josh Howard maybe join us. I haven't checked yet to see if he was able to join us. We love hearing from you, and so send us any ideas, requests, etc. for future sessions. This is really sponsored by Qnity, which is all about financial wellness for pro beauty and wellness, whether it's for students through Money EDU, whether it's through professionals with our financial wellness program called Money Pro, or for money small business owners and managers, which is all about financial management to create greater profitability. This is Green Month. Not only is it green for the environment, it's also Financial Literacy Month. So let's all have a green month. And certainly the case study that we're going to share today is definitely all about green. It's about certainly the financial parameters that successful technology and behavior change can have in your business, but it also reduces the footprint on our environment through more responsible use of color. Save the dates. We have the Phil, of course, coming up. That's in Austin, Texas, at the Line Hotel. I believe we might be full at that hotel, I'm sorry to say. You can, Michelle can put something in the chat. I think we are coming up with some locations that are nearby. So we knew that this might happen, but we didn't think it would happen so fast. We've had such a great turnout for this year's Phil. We're super excited. And it is going to be an amazing, amazing conference. And one of the themes of the Phil is all about tools, and we will be releasing some new tools, digital and some of our signature paper-based tactile tools. Buckminster Fuller, as he said, if you want to teach people a new way of thinking, don't bother trying to teach them. Instead, give them a tool, the use of which will lead to new ways of thinking. I guess what we're going through today also is a tool in a sense, and more about that later. The theme at this year's Phil is about zooming in and zooming out. Zoom in to really look in detail at your business and look at how you can eliminate several gaps, whether it's gap between your desired profitability and your actual profitability, staff engagement, execution, leadership, and growth, as well as the opportunity to zoom out and get a new perspective that comes from filling your bucket by getting away from your business and being around like-minded people, an inspiring atmosphere, and being exposed to new ideas. So certainly we hope you'll join us. The Impact Awards, which is one of the best things about the Phil, is officially open. We recommend that you submit an application for an Impact Award. It's super simple this year. It requires just a very short essay And then just as important, it requires submission of photographs of the use of a Qnity training tool or practice, which can come in a variety of different a variety of different sources. We will be awarding impact awards in 5 different categories as we did last year. The categories will be profitability. I've already mentioned these, profitability, staff engagement, growth, leadership, and execution. So here are some of our award recipients last year. We have this beautiful little trophy, I guess, really cool glass trophy, as well as the acknowledgement and the recognition amongst your peers and your team for the kind of change and impact that you've made in your business that will inspire all of us. So several of the winners will be back next year or this year. And so super excited. Get your application in because we want to be able to announce who the Impact Award winners are before the conference. Also, we will be awarding 2 golden light bulbs, what we have in front of us on the screen. And if you can't see the screen, it's a photograph of Sam Briccato and Megan Jasper, who were last year's recipients of the golden light bulb. We have 2 more recipients this year, and they have been finalized. We know who they are. They don't know who they are. It will be a surprise. And we're very, very excited about the fill, as well as the Impact Awards and our 2 golden light bulbs. We do have a Sunday night event that's a companion to the fill. It's called a Celebration of Light Bulb Moments, which is a Beauty Changes Lives fundraiser, which we also had last year. And we have some new, really cool twists that I should be able to announce next week. We're going to take light bulb moments to a whole nother level of creativity. And I'm just dying to share with you, but we got to wait a week. All right, my light bulb moment last week that I shared was really having the privilege a week ago last Monday to be representing the industry, representing all of you with the compensation study, to do my best efforts to help educate multiple different departments of the government. So this was a meeting with the executive branch, which is the White House. I include the Office of Management and Budget, Department of Education, Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs, and I think there was one other branch of the government. And we had 30 minutes to present the compensation study. And I got to tell you, we have a lot of work to do to educate those in Washington that represent us on the beauty industry. It really is surprising how uninformed they are. And I'm convinced now more than ever about the power of data and how data can bridge the gap between stories and reality. Aaron also the week before had spent some time on Capitol Hill meeting with multiple senators and their staff, in most cases their staff. And Catherine really, I think, did a good job last week of explaining the importance of that. So that was my light bulb moment last week. This week, as we get ready for the Beauty Changes Lives Changemakers Gala, which is Sunday night in Chicago, April 16th, we will be there with bells on, and it is not too late to sign up for that. So my light bulb moment is that there's a lot of things going on in Chicago this weekend, and I'm in anticipation of a whole slew of new light bulb moments that happens when you connect with other leaders in the industry. So I'm going to save light bulb moments from this week I'm going to push it out to next week because I know there's going to be a bunch of them. I want to get to our guests right away here. And so without any further ado, why don't we invite Sue Ahrens to the conversation. And Sue, let's see, let's get you on mic and let's welcome you. Hello, good morning. How are you, Sue?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Well, always a delight to have you as a guest. I think you've been a guest and a member of the Brain Trust since the very, very beginning. And we're here to share a case study, aren't we?
Yes, we are. I'm excited.
Tell us a little bit about StudioBe.
StudioBe Salon is a family-owned company based in Fort Collins, Colorado. We have 2 salons in Fort Collins, our training center and call center in Fort Collins, and we have a location in Loveland and one in Boulder. We have about 85 employees. We are education-based and been around since 2006. So just
And your role is, I think your signature, which I love, is El Presidente, not
yes,
president.
it is.
El Presidente. Is that your official title, or is that your?
Yeah, you know, titles are just kind of for fun around here. It's whatever you're going to do, just roll up your sleeves and get it done. But yeah, El Presidente is a little more fun than president. So yes.
Perfect. Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna invite a couple other individuals to the conversation in a little bit, because this case study is primarily about using technology.
Yep.
Technology with also behavior change and the importance of behavior change. So this is a wonderful sort of trilogy of a partnership, if you will, between StudioBe, Qnity, through your coach, Heath Smith, who's joined us today, and then through Vish, who's been a great partner of ours, great partner of yours. They really are on the forefront of technology, providing practical solutions that really relate with color management and that part of the business. A very data-driven organization. They also will be sponsors at the Phil, and I believe that this case study is going to be unpacked in a little bit more depth at the Phil, is my understanding.
Yes, me too.
So this case study has a lot of different pieces to it.
Mhm.
And it actually, in the interest of full disclosure with our full audience here, there's a lot of moving parts to this that took me a little bit of time to unpack. And it's very powerful. There's a series of different changes. So why don't we take it from the top? So
Okay.
if we can summarize the whole case study and the initiative, maybe we should start out with just a quick summary statement.
Okay, I think we chose to bring on Vish in 2021, and we started with it to help reduce waste in the salon, you know, preserve the earth a little more, and also spend less on color going down the drain. So that was our primary function. And then through working with it, that was our phase 1. Phase 2 was taking a service, staff service charge away and charging customers for the parts that they were using. So the professional use of the product. So it was multifaceted. And along the way, you know, we're a Qnity in Action client. So it's applying the tools and using the tools to help manage that change and organize that change and have successful outcome. So it was super timely because the first fill was last year, and at the fill we got the 13-week tracker, and we all were already planning the color chart. We just call it the color fee. You know, we were planning on going live with the color fee in July. So this was in May. And so our first 13-week tracker was how we were going to make this happen. So it was really cool. It all kind of came together.
So a client color fee, what this means is that you are going to make a big change that impacted your staff and your clients.
Yes.
Because you did, and the plan was to increase or to add a charge to clients, a client color charge.
Right.
And obviously that has a big impact, not just on clients, but also staff. That's a big change.
Yes, it was a huge change. And there was a lot of fear around it at first, but also, you know, they were excited that the service fee was coming off of them, because that was in essence giving them all a raise. So we just were very transparent about it from the very beginning. We talked about it. We, talked about their fears. We role played. We didn't hide anything. It's like, this is what we're doing. This is where we're going. Here it is. Let's pick it apart. Let's make sure that you feel as comfortable talking about it as we do. We're here to support you. And so I think approaching it that way, and we used a 9 grid to plan it all out before we got our 13-week planner. And I think it went really well. We used 4 times 4 ways with everything. We, it was scary and it was hard because change is hard. And the other piece that was really hard for our staff was it's technology. And so it's scary, it's like, I don't know how to use this. And what if it doesn't work? And, oh, it's going to take too much time. And, so we had all of the hurdles that you're going to have. And I think the key to it, especially with technology, is don't give up, just keep going, be tenacious with it, but also be graceful with the fears and allow people to have the fears that they have, but then just be convicted on what you're going to do and have that trust with your team, and it'll work out. It just sometimes is a little rocky along the way.
So you slipped in another change here. Let's be clear for our listeners what we're talking about here. So first we talked about a client color fee, which is client paying a separate itemized part charge for professional color usage. And that was added in 2022. So this is a positive increase in sales, correct?
Correct.
And then at the same time, you just kind of threw in another major change, and that was the staff service charge was eliminated for color.
Correct.
And so the staff service charge is a reduction in compensation to cover the cost of color by reducing a color ticket before calculating the commission. So this was actually an increase in payroll costs, right?
Correct.
So
yes.
we have 2 changes kind of at the same time. We have adding a client color fee, which is a big change to staff and customers, big change. And then also you have this change with staff where you eliminated the staff service charge, which they had to be dancing in the streets on that one.
Yep. They were super excited. It was really great to see. I mean, I love to be able to give them wherever we can and help them all to make more money. And it was great to see. Yeah.
Why did you decide to pair these 2 significant changes at the same time?
Well, they just go hand in hand. I didn't feel like it was right to double dip. If the stylist is paying for the service fee, then the customer can't. If the customer is, then the stylist shouldn't. So to me, it was just a pass off, take it off of the stylist and have the customer do it. And we chose to do the professional color use fee in lieu of a service fee increase or service price increase.
Sure.
So that's the only increase we did last year, was just passing through the cost of the color that's used to the customer.
So let's be clear for our listeners what you mean by that. So give me so let's quote me like an average color charge. I mean, color price.
I think on average, we do a lot of highlights, a lot of extensions, a lot of really long hair. I think our average for 2022 was around $1,750. So that's every product of color.
Wait.
Sorry.
Hold on one second. I'm sorry. No, the actual charge to the customer for the service.
For the service. I'm sorry. I thought you meant the color charge. $200.
$200. Okay. So before it was $200. All right. Mm-hmm. Now, after you kept the 200 the same, you didn't raise the prices of color, and you're using some terminology, you're distinguishing between the service fee and whatever. So 200, and then you mentioned 1,750.
Yeah, the average bowl.
So
they put in the bowl.
So past was $200.
Mm-hmm.
Present is 200 plus a separate line item for 1,750.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Past was a service provider is has a commission, but before the commission is calculated, there's a reduction. What was the approximate staff service charge that was there before for color about?
Individually between $4 and $13 each guest.
So the after was now just commission is just calculated on the $200, not reduced by the staff service charge.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Okay, gotcha. And so now let's get to the numbers here a little bit, because we've got a lot of positive. One of the reasons you're the guest here now. But before I actually get to the numbers, how did your staff really feel about this as it related to the sort of the usage of color? Were they passionate about this initiative because it had a positive impact on the environment and other reasons, or was that just an afterthought?
Yes. So before we did the charge, like I mentioned, we had a certain benchmark that we wanted to get to where they were at 90% reweighing and under 20% waste. And once they got to that, we knew that we had them on board and they were feeling comfortable with it. And that's when we decided to do the charge. So I think doing it in steps made a lot of sense for the team. So they understood the value of not pouring color down the drain for the company and for the earth. They understood the value of reducing waste. And so when they got comfortable with that and then they moved into the other, it was a little bit easier. I think the scary thing was, anytime you have a price increase, they're always fearful, and it felt like a price increase. And so just talking through it, but they really appreciated that this is the direction we're going, and that it's new technology and we need to stay up with the times. And yeah, there's so many benefits from the technology to make their lives easier and make their formulations more accurate and to be more, to add to our 5-star service. It's right there on the color bar. The guests see it and they're like, "Oh, cool. What is that? What are you doing?" And so it just gave more talking points. And I think it elevated the level of professionalism.
So let's invite Heath to the camera and the conversation, and let's have Will jump on here too. So let's have Heath really address sort of the behavior change and the planning, and then Will, when we get to the numbers, will involve you. Morning, Heath. How are you?
Hi there. Good morning. Sue, I want to point out, Sue's not afraid to, El Presidente is never afraid to create change in the business. So this is sort of a pat on the back for you to take the steps you need for growth. So yeah, I think when we've worked with Sue, and I meet with her leadership team on a monthly basis as well. And one of the tools we consistently use is the 13-week planner, and they apply it in a lot of different facets. You're talking about the implementation of a color fee. We've been recently working on it with retail performance and how to increase retail. So I love how they creatively apply the tools. So it creates the structure that they follow as a leadership team. So that's kind of a call out number one. The change, we had a big conversation about the importance of change and recognizing that there's a change cycle that you have to take your team through. And for those of you that study this kind of work or are sensitive to it, I think change in our industry for the average salon employee takes about 6 months. And put your purse here or your lunch here. Even simple changes like that, it really takes about 6 months of acclimation. And I think the success that they're seeing from implementing this technology is the awareness of the time it takes to roll out something and then to manage it through all of the different change cycles. What do you think, Sue?
I agree. And I mean, from something that you taught me and you shared was an article that talked about change management, and it was the forming, storming, and norming. And
Yeah.
my 9 grid from there is all about forming, storming, and norming. And, this was the very first piece that we built back a year ago in, planning through, but trying to just think about every single piece. What, how is the front desk going to handle it? How is the assistant going to handle it? How is the, and just going through everything, and then just really, like you said, Heath, allowing that time, because we in our minds have been planning it for months, and so we expect them to be where we're at, and we always have to just say, love them where they're at, because they're not where we are. So we have to love them through the process. We already had time to process some of it. So just really remembering that, like you said, it's going to take a while for it to become the new normal.
Yeah.
So what the heck is forming, storming, Norman? I mean, it's a really great model of change, and it was developed by a business thinker in the 1970s. And I'm drawing a blank on the gentleman's name, but there's actually four parts to the model: forming, storming, norming, and then performing. And I believe Sue's kind of in the performing phase of it right now. But it talks about how you've got to warm your team up to the concept of change, and that they're going to go through a period of fear. They're going to go through a period of unrest. They're going to push back. They're going to overtly sabotage you, and they're going to covertly sabotage you. And the change process has to allow for all of that settling in to be able to get to the place where whatever, moving your lunch here, hanging your coat there, becomes the new normal, which is the norming phase of it. I'm a big fan of it because it just talks about what's true, human nature, and how we react to shifts and changing in our environment. I'd like to call out too, Sue, which it'd be interesting for you to kind of cover or speak to, is if you didn't have the technology, which is kind of a conversation about technology as well, to have the transparency to see all of these moving parts, you would never be able to get to this point.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the biggest ahas of the conversation is we are always chasing ways to be more profitable. And when we start those conversations, we look at where we're spending money, and back bar and hair color is one of those key places that we zoom in on, but it's one of the most difficult to measure because our team on a client by client basis, it's a moving target. And having the technology that can bring that transparency and all of these puzzle pieces to light so that then you could be creative with how you solve it, I think is kind of the key to the conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
I love how this fits on a 9 grid too, forming, storming, norming, and how you laid it out. Let's invite Will to the conversation. Let's invite our friend from the north of the border here. Are you in Vancouver today?
I am in Vancouver, yeah. And it's a beautiful day for a change.
Well, Will, it's so you obviously the technology is a big piece to this, and many of us are familiar with the Vish technology, which is a color management system. And we'll give it in a this isn't time for commercials, it's time for education. So, and you're not a commercial kind of guy, which is why you're part of this this session here. Give it us in a nutshell. What's Vish?
Yeah, so I guess let me just preface it by saying, from a conservationist point of view, it was really eye-opening when I learned several years ago that the average salon is wasting 2 out of every 5 tubes of hair color.
Jesus.
Right. 40% of your color bill is essentially, going down the drain or going into the bucket. And so, beyond that, the efficient salons, the group that we're talking to here, you're probably wasting 20%. So if you do not have a color management technology in place, you can expect that at your most efficient, you're probably wasting half as much as the average salon, which is still 20% of your color inventory. And so, I've heard it said many times within this organization that salon owners penalize their teams for wasting, but they don't actually provide a really strong, measurable, successful solution against that challenge.
Mhm.
And so this is exactly what Vish looks to solve is, not only enabling the waste reduction by about 80%, which is quite significant, but also doing, that move that Sue has undertaken to actually understand how are we charging for our services? Are we properly collecting against, that guest who decides to stretch out their appointment a little bit longer because, money's tight, or that guest who comes in and they've got the mermaid length hair, who we would normally be charging maybe one extra bowl charge, but it's a little bit arbitrary, creating a lot more, of a science behind that, and ensuring that we can then look at all of that data and make data-driven decisions around pricing and around our product purchases, rather than just trying to, hope to make more money here than we're losing over here, and that out with that, roughly 5% profit that salons have come to expect at the end of the year.
So good segue into the numbers. Clearly this is a green initiative. This is a green initiative for the environment. This is a green initiative for the P&L. And let's talk about the P&L now. And Sue, you have been gracious enough to not only share your numbers with the inner circle as we prepped for this, but also you're willing to share some of this with the community. We always ask for permission. I never share numbers without permission. But if I can really, if you can affirm this to me, so why don't you give us, just so we can, you have 4 locations, right?
Mm-hmm. 4 locations, yep.
And so you're a decent sized business. I mean, you're multi-location, and are you comfortable sharing your gross top line number with the group today?
Yeah, I think so.
So top line, just total sales for the company, not color, so just gross service and retail, so approximate.
5 million.
5 million. Okay. All right. So now I'm looking at the numbers here, and it seems to me that in an average month, your client color fee is around 25,000 that's being charged.
Yes, that's
and
correct.
that was 0 before when?
Before July of 2022.
Okay. So incremental, this is another, say, what, $300,000 of revenue trending upward, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Meanwhile, your color services are also going up at the same time.
Yep.
So you have this new fee that's being charged and itemized and disclosed to the client. We're clear what it's paying for. That's bringing some additional revenue.
Mhm.
But then also your usage has gone down, which creates favorable cost of sales. What does that look like on your P&L? So what was sort of the before and after as it relates to the expense side? Because we see the positive on the money in.
Right.
What about the money out?
Well, we had I think we had about a 1% reduction in cost, but over, for salons and a full year, that's significant. So we saved quite a bit of money, but I think the biggest thing is that for 30 plus years that I've been in the business, there's 2 revenue streams, service and retail. Well, this is a third. I mean, it truly is. I mean, we had, it added 4.5% to our bottom line. So,
Listen, you can confidently say that added 4.5 points to your bottom line.
yep, I talked to my CFO all week long. I'm like, you're sure, you're sure, you're sure. And when I look at the numbers, yes. If it wasn't for this color charge, we would not have come out of the pandemic year as successfully as we have. Now we're still not to the double digit. Actually, March, we are going to be a double digit, but we didn't come back as fast as we wanted, but this has really helped us to be profitable. A big loss that I think a lot of us have felt since pandemic year is retail sales, which is one of the 2 revenue streams, and it has continually gone down over the years. And this other source has helped me absorb the pain from losing that revenue stream.
So let me also be clear. So you had something that had a negative effect on the P&L, and that was your payroll cost would have gone up because of the elimination of the staff service charge.
Yes.
But so that 4.5% is net of all of these, you know, because there's a lot of changes being, it literally took me an hour to figure this out. Maybe I'm a little slow, but
No,
it took me
it's a
long
lot
time.
of moving numbers and parts and pieces.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Now, here's something that came out in our conversations too is, but you don't feel like you're fully optimizing this yet.
Right. And I get I'm blessed to be able to talk to Will and Josh all the time. And Josh is like, you're not charging what you should be. But again, I like to ease into things with a staff and our customers. And so we're easing into charging, you know, like we've all had a price increase again this year. I think we've had 2 on color. I haven't increased that fee yet, but it is coming because I'm absorbing, you know, the cost increases. So we are going to be increasing the cost going out to the customer. So yeah, there's so many things we can do, because even just looking at the, you know, the reweigh and the waste, we can get better in all of these areas. And then we track what Vish charges, you know, so what's been used on the scale goes to our computer system, our POS system, and then what's actually collected. There's a variance between what's charged and collected at times. We can get better there. You know, there's room to grow, but it's already so great.
Why is there a difference between what's charged and collected? Is that consumer related, staff related? Why is there a difference?
I would say majority of it is staff related. It's not fully integrated yet, but we're working on it. And so the front desk has to take the total that was used and put it on the ticket as another line item. So sometimes there can be some error where that's concerned, but we keep it above 90%. Right now we're sitting at 94% charged to collected. So you know, we manage it. It's another manageable item with staff, but I would say it's majority staff. But then we also have, you know, if there's a redo or somebody's unhappy, we don't charge the guest again. So we allow room for some of that.
Heath?
I think, yeah, I was going to say, I think that when we talked about that, Sue, you felt like you had maybe 25 to 30% more optimization that could happen. So that profitability number, the efficiency with your color usage, all of that, you have quite a bit of room for improvement. And I think the difference in what's charged and collected also comes down to we're still in, you know, the tremors of rolling out a new system and getting full adoption from the team. There have been a couple of notes. I'm monitoring the chat. Hello, everyone. Margaret Maxey, thanks for the question about clients. That's a soft landing you've got to make. And we don't have space for that today, but there's a whole other conversation with how you roll out and introduce change to the clientele. But, you know, I think that there's another comment that says 4.5% to the bottom line, well worth it. The reward is there. We just have to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, I haven't seen many comments, but I did see my good friend Michael Shea. Michael wants us to recap the last 40 minutes because he just joined us. Mike, you got to listen to the video, my friend. Just kidding. We'll summarize for you, Michael. It's good to have you join us, seriously. And I haven't seen the chat much. I think I saw some things by Edwin Neal. It's always great to have Edwin on here. Edwin loves data. He loves positive change. he's a green guy. He loves, he's very passionate about the environment, and also he's a very smart fiscally responsible, This is really a great session. I feel like I want to talk about this all day. I don't think our listeners want to hear us talk about it all day. We are going to unpack it a little bit more at the Phil, though, aren't we?
Yeah.
Will and Heath and Sue, are we?
Yep.
Absolutely.
We will dig in and share, as much. I'm happy to share as much as I can with everyone. So
Sue, you made some comments about technology just in general, and
Yep.
Will, that's essentially, this is a technology-driven solution, and you have some of your own personal insights about technology and change. Why don't you spend a moment talking about that?
Will or me?
Why don't you talk about it, Sue,
Okay.
since you're on the front line with your team?
Yeah, and I am a hairdresser first and foremost for 30-something years. And I have, in my experience, I see a lot of resistance from hairdressers when it comes to technology. Myself included, I'm fearful of it. I don't understand it. It's not the way my brain works. All of those things. So you get a lot of resistance when it comes to technology. And at the end of the day, you got to embrace it, because it's the way of not just the future, just even the past. And it's so important to find a way to become friends with it and realize that it's going to help you. It's going to help you to provide that 5-star service better than you were before, be more accurate, be able to save, be able to help the earth, track things, everything. Technology is there as a tool to help you get better, not take away from the artist and the creative and who we are. So, it's just embrace it. It's hard, but suck it up, do it.
Tom, could I make an observation? I will say also, it's really important to point out, you didn't adopt that technology and jump right to this massive level of change. You implemented it. You basically changed your scales. So you went from an old school scale to a digital scale. And then you let business roll like business is rolling, and you just started collecting information to be able to understand where you could make change. So I think that's important to point out that, do this slowly, do this from a really intelligent, user-intelligent model, and give yourself space, because it is quite a bit of an emotional conversation when you're talking about change from our salon population of team members. You can get a lot of reactions that are emotionally charged. So go slowly.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I went, Jason from Elements and I talked a lot about this, and he really helped me to get through it. And I went to several different salons that use it, and I talked to stylists and I talked to the front desk and I talked to everyone, because if I was going to ask my team to take on this change, I had to understand what they were going to go through so that we could do it. So yeah, it wasn't just okay, we're going to do it and here it is, everyone run with it. No, it was a very long process and thought out process. And I think, with Qnity, with the tools, they really helped us to figure it out, with the coaching that you guys have, figure it out. And then Vish, it's like we stumbled along the way, but we figured it out. That's
Will, and Sue's reference to Jason, it's Jason Fascio. He's of Element Salons in Nashville. He's got 4 locations. He went down to 3 because one burned
he's
to the
5
ground.
now.
Well,
He
one
just
burned to
opened
the
it.
ground, and then he had another one. But anyway, you mentioned Jason. I thought we'd say who it is. Great guy and a very sharing guy. So Will, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes. You got this great technology here, and it can make an impact. It can have like a quadruple impact on your business, environmental, and then multiple areas in the P&L. It's got to be a bit frustrating for you, for someone that might just take this in and think it's just going to do it itself, right? It's just going to, here it is, and wave a magic wand. So I'm sure this is refreshing for you to hear someone who approaches it very methodically with change management in mind.
Yeah, I think having somebody like Heath kind of help to lay out what this actually looks like, and to say, you need to implement it using an intelligent model, because the reality is this can revolutionize your bottom line profits, but you have to be able to look at it and say, okay, we can do this the lazy way and just try and turn it on and see what happens, or we can actually build this into every level of our guest experience, our front desk, our colorist, obviously, and then we can see some really better long-term results. And so Michael asked, is this a parts and labor model? Yes, ultimately it can be. It doesn't have to be. So we've got salons like Frank Gambuza's salon. He's never collected any extra product charges from the guests using this technology. He's only used this as a waste management system. So essentially he's just using it as a smart scale and a way to store and manage the formulas as well as the product inventory. That's fine, but there's so much opportunity in terms of new top line revenue that can be generated when we look at transitioning towards a parts and labor model. And so that's really the opportunity is, if you want to go down that road from, moving from all inclusive to eventually a parts and labor model, we can take you there incrementally. And of course, it's going to take an intelligent model to do it. But if you give us, 6 to 18 months, we can absolutely add, 4.5%, 5% to your bottom line.
It's huge. So a couple things here. Sue, I believe you're going to enter this into the Impact Awards. You're gonna do a submission for the Impact Awards. I think you got a pretty good shot at with this case study. So let's have you back when you implement some change management on your retail. Perhaps you can get the team selling a little bit more retail products to help enhance that color service after they walk out. Maybe that's your next change management, huh?
Well, we're trying, trying everything. And I want to hear somebody else and what they're doing because they've had the success. So I'm all ears.
Well, that's the beauty of this community is that we get a chance to hear these different things. So guys, let's give the three of them a virtual round of applause. Also, we're going to award each of you the $1 million light bulb. Will, for some reason, it's not going across the border, so we're going to have to make sure it gets up to Canada for you. And then Sue, you've been multiple recipients of the golden light bulb. You're so great with sharing. We appreciate that. And then Heath, thanks for jumping in today. You were gone all last week, and you've got this long list of things to do, but you made the time for us today, so we appreciate it. So,
yes.
All right. Well, once again, thanks to Sue for your leadership, your intention about making some really great change and, doing it in the front line and all the messy that goes in the middle of it. And then Heath for your guidance and Will for the great technology and everything that you do to make a difference. So thanks to all of you guys. All right. So let us go back to, let's see what else I have to cover here today. The compensation study. My gosh. We have formally reopened the what we refer to as phase 3 of the compensation study. What this means is that this is going to be the same general audience that we did last year. These are employee-based salons with between 1 and 10 locations. We have, there's some changes to this, and all the changes are good ones. We've simplified the submission process. We've simplified the process of the agreements that are necessary, confidentiality, non-disclosure, all of that. We also have opened it up so that spas could participate in this. And we've also got some new partners to help with the outreach. I really am convinced more than ever that data is so important, and we have to be relentless in getting this compensation data. So we have reopened the study, and here's what's going to be really exciting about this. Now that we will have a second year, we'll be able to provide some trend analysis. We'll be able to look at 2021 W-2s compared to 2022. And if I'm a betting man, the number is going to be higher. I don't know how much higher. I don't want to predict, but do the math. I mean, a lot of price increases, a lot of employee-based salons are commission-based. And so The study is open. We are also talking to chains to create another category of data, which these are 11 plus locations. We have not opened up that study yet. We are looking at some partnerships to make that a reality. So certainly participate in the study. It's a super simple process. You take a survey, and then you go into the private data portal that we built for your company to submit W-2 data. It should not take very long, but participation is key. So you'll hear me pretty much on every single week, really talking about the importance of this. We hope to have some preliminary findings in time for the fill, and we're excited about that. So data submission is open. Save the dates. Again, we have the fill, which we've already talked about. A reminder, the impact awards are open. We'd love to get as many submissions as possible. I want to thank our sponsors, Lightheart Sanders, CPA firm that works with many salons as well as schools. They're great partners. They also were great contributors to the compensation study. And then, of course, Ally Health, which is on-demand healthcare, in particular mental health. So it's virtual mental health, which many developments even in the last week on this subject that I could probably spend an entire session talking about, but I won't. But making mental health care accessible on a when needed basis is really vital, and that's why we're pleased to partner with Ally Health. Erin's podcast, Money 02, she's frequently has some new episodes coming out. Check them out. They're awesome. And then subscribe to our YouTube channel so that the Michael Shays of the world can get caught up if you weren't able to participate in the entire session. We love hearing from you. We love hearing about any guests you want to include. If you want to submit a light bulb moment, if you want to otherwise reach out to us, we'd love to hear from you. So there you go. It's 52 minutes after the hour. I'm sort of pushing. We are on next week, by the way, and I better read my notes here. We're on next week. Oh, we've got Gerald Scarpazzi from Hairbrained is going to join us. I've been talking to Jared about being a guest for a very long time. Jared and his partner Randy Taylor are the founders and principals of Hairbrained, which is a community. And Gerard always has some amazing things to say. So I'm super pleased to see him on the docket next week. We will be seeing you then. So thanks for joining us again. Thanks to our guests, and thanks for all of you for tuning in. And especially thanks to you that used the chat to keep the conversation going and being part of the roundtable. So, all right, we will see you next week. This is it. And I'm going to stick around for a moment and just read some of the comments, but the rest of you feel free to exit stage left. Thanks again.